Hi, I'm CJ Elmberg at Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We've got a really cool show trailer sitting behind me. This is a 2025 Cimarron Lonestar. This, we're going to refer to it as a dirty tack. If you watched a lot of our videos, you've seen some of these trailers before, but we're going to walk you through this 28-footer. It's got some real unique features to it, really well set up for a show trailer, but also be able to use it on the farm and ranch as well. Before we start walking you through it and showing you everything, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing so you can see how the trailer's laid out. Like I mentioned, 28 foot on the floor. This trailer is 8 foot wide. It is 6'4" tall. It's got a lot of unique features from the standpoint of a couple side ramps, a couple traveling gates, but we'll walk you through this trailer and show you all these cool features because it's not just a standard stock trailer that we're going to look at. Definitely has quite a few extra features on it. We'll just start up at the nose. First thing you're going to notice, we'll go top down. You're going to notice the marker lights on the nose there. On that top rail, you're going to get 3 marker lights. This is something we were doing on quite a few of our kind of more loaded up trailers, living quarters, fancier show cattle trailers, but Cimarron made it standard last year on these. I think it's a good look to the trailers. You're going to notice the polished nose on this one, the stainless steel. That stainless is really cool because it cleans up really well. I think it also gives it a nice finished look to it. On your coupler, this is a low profile B&W coupler. It's rated for 25,000 pounds. This is the 3rd generation that Cimarron and B&W have come up with, and this is really nice because on this type of a trailer here we have a lot of adjustment. So a lot of flexibility to slide this coupler up and down depending on what the tow vehicle is. With the lower profile handle, we got that extra hole drilled in there, and then a very reputable company like B&W to team up with. Underneath the gooseneck, first thing you're going to notice probably is the electric over hydraulic jack by Equalizer. These are the only way to go. The older I get, the more I realize how much of a good investment a hydraulic jack is. And I will definitely recommend it to anybody and everybody because it is so nice to be able to reach up and push the button and up and down these trailers go. For example, you don't have to hand crank them. Somebody's helping you, guide you back to hook you up. You can keep your foot on the brake. They can reach up and hit the button and drop it on the ball within a matter of seconds rather than hand cranking. When you put them in park, they might want to rock on you a little bit. But definitely a nice upgrade there. It also has the manual override on this version that Cimarron puts on. This is the same version we use through our parts and service department. If you wanted to add one on to a trailer that does have a manual crank jack, this is the only way to go in our opinion because in emergency situations we could get this on or off. With this system, you're going to get the aluminum battery box with a 12-volt battery disconnect, and then a new feature is a RedArc charger. Anytime we have one of these hydraulic jacks with a battery on these trailers, that is now a standard feature from Cimarron. What's fantastic about it is that it is a true 3-stage charger to this battery. So it's going to give a lot of life, longevity to that battery itself. It's also going to protect our truck. But this guy here, the best way to explain it is, in our old systems, your truck would just work as a trickle charger for your battery. This guy here is going to work as more of a supercharger for you. It's really going to speed up that process. And again, keeping that battery nice and charged up. Again, giving a lot of life to it. That battery disconnect is important because on these trailers, they have a lot of lights. Something may get left on, drain the battery. So when you park this trailer, walk away from it. Maybe you go to a show, get everything unloaded, cattle settled, go park it out in the parking lot, reach up, turn that off. You get home, unhook it, turn it off. That way we're killing all power, and again, we're not potentially draining something down. Now, one of the other things you're going to notice under here is we've got these aluminum fold-ups on a gas shock, and what it is we've got some air vents underneath here. So this one's a straight stock trailer. We don't have an actual tack room on it. So what we can do is we can actually force quite a bit of extra air to these cattle by having those. So there's one on each side, and again, they just fold up. It's an aluminum cover with a gas shock on it. Now, this trailer here is actually going to be equipped with the wraparound style nose. There's a couple different versions. There's a wraparound and then there's a VP style. In fact, if you pay attention to the trailers kind of in the background, if you look at the construction of their goosenecks, those are the VP style, to where this is the wraparound. So this is a sleeker, cleaner look in my opinion. These type of trailers, we like upgrading to them. Again, it gives it a good look to the trailer. And then we're gonna finish it with this charcoal metallic sheeting. So white is standard. If you go to a different color, there's an upcharge there. This charcoal metallic, if in direct sunlight, it's gonna look really charcoal to it, that really dark gray. If you get it in some shadows or, you know, a real cloudy day, it's gonna get a little bit darker, so it's gonna look a little bit more black to it. But this is a good look in my opinion. It matches a lot of the color schemes on trucks today. I also like it from the standpoint of, you know, when it rains and the wind blows a little bit and kicks a little bit of dust up on these trailers and that dirt wants to stick to it, that dirt's not as noticeable as like a black trailer. So this is a really good look to that. One of the other things I want to point out is the Cimarron nose is 8.2 long. So a little bit longer than a lot of the competitors out there that'll run a 7.6, 7.8. I like it from the standpoint of if you're pulling with a long box truck and you drop your tailgate, those you don't have any room to work, you know, behind the truck in between the trailer. With a Cimarron you can drop that tailgate and work in between them. And then we also have a 53-inch gooseneck drop wall. So this drop is a little bit bigger from the standpoint of extra bed clearance to make sure this trailer's running level. One of the challenges we have with the newer trucks is their bed heights is so high that, look, we don't want to tear up a bed on one of these really expensive new trucks. So one of the challenges is how do we make the trailer run level so we have equal weight distribution on the axles, but again having that bed clearance. So you either have bed clearance with the trailer running uphill, run on the back axle, or we have it level, potential of tearing up that bed. So 53-inch gooseneck drop versus the 50, which is standard, makes a big difference on these trailers, and bed clearance again, so you have a lot of extra room there. Now, dirty tack setup. I mentioned that earlier. What we've done is we've actually shifted our side ramp back, and then we've put our escape door, that access gate, from driver's side, we flipped it over here to passenger side. Some customers still like it on driver's side, and that's totally fine. We can build it that way for you. But in this instance, we like everything, if we can, curbside rather than street side, just for safety purposes. If something happens on the side of the road, you need to access something, you're accessing everything away from traffic on this side of the trailer versus over there on driver's side. So again, we've shifted the ramp back, we've put the door ahead of it. You can see we have a fold-up step there going in there, so it makes that transition a lot easier. You know, as you can see where the bottom rail is for that door frame, and stepping in there makes a big difference. Now, well, the dirty tack part comes into play. This trailer is very unique, and you have a lot of flexibility on how you can set this up. Whether you have cattle all on the forward side of the trailer or towards the back, and you want to put tack up at the front. But that's the concept, is we're going to use this side ramp going into the stall area here with the potential of using our traveling gates that I mentioned. We'll show you these a little bit more, but using this as almost a tack wall. So as you can see, I've got this gate currently set right ahead of the side ramp. Well, I can move it forward 1 foot or 2 foot to actually shrink down this front, either stall or again this tack area for you. So these traveling gates will go around the posts, but then as we get to door frames, wheel wells, where there's a little bit larger posts, you're gonna have notches, so they'll lock into place there. But that's the concept of a dirty tack. So it can have a tack room, or if you wanted to make this all, you know, stock trailer, 28 foot of stock, you know, usable space, you've got that flexibility. So here's a good look at those air vents that I was telling you about. And then we've got our calf gate. We can fold down. And then there's a good look at that nose. And remember, 8.2 deep, so a lot longer, a lot more storage space as well in here. And with it being 8 wide, you've got a lot of storage space because, again, we've made the trailer wider itself. So up in the nose, you've got an LED light, the OptiBright lights. That's incorporated up here in the nose, and then back here in the stall, we'll show you more of those. Over to the right is going to be your storage tray for our plexiglass. I want to talk more about that when we get to the outside, but keep that in mind right there. That's where that plexiglass is going to store. So again, this guy just folds up, pins into place, got pins on each side. This is the same extrusion on this gate that they used on the side of the trailer. So it's not like they just said, hey, throw a sheet of aluminum up there and let's call it good. No, this guy is stout here as well, with it being the actual extrusion that's used on the side of the trailer. So this will give you a good look here at the rails. We'll step back through the gate here in a minute, but I'll show you how these operate. But this is the rail that the gates actually hang on. So again, these traveling gates, there's 2 of them in here. So where it really comes into play is instances like this. You know, this could be our tack room. I'll show you the second side ramp here in a minute, but you've got a lot of flexibility with traveling gates. We used to build these trailers, a lot of them with one traveling gate, one fixed gate. But look, customers really want to be able to manipulate stalls, giving them a lot more flexibility in what they're hauling. You know, we see it more and more today. Multiple breeds, maybe you're hauling some you know, breeding heifers along with steers, maybe you got a cow-calf pair, maybe you got a bull. You know, a lot of scenarios where this can come into play, where right now we have three different stalls. Well, I can slide a gate out of the way, I can make, you know, 2 usable, I can make it all one stock area if I want, 28 foot. But again, a lot of flexibility. It's so nice to have these 2 traveling gates for that. The first one here is going to be a no threshold with a slider. So the cattle don't have to step over anything in this instance here. And then the slide gate just goes across and actually pins in. Then I'll show you just for how these operate. We just unpin them from the wall. You kind of stay about in the middle so everything's nice and balanced. What's nice is these are off the floor a little bit. So when we're bedded down, you know, we're not having to fight that bedding. You have a little bit of flexibility the way that these gates swing off the ceiling itself. But again, what I can do is I can slide, for instance, this gate clear up to the front if I want and lock it into place. There is a spot for both gates up here, so I can bring all these up and have one large stall area. But as you can see, now we've got the capability to manipulate the stalls. Again, I could make this a front tack room, that dirty tack concept like I was mentioning. I can shrink it down, put maybe a cow-calf pair in there, or a bred heifer, that steer, that bull, whatever we need to. But again, a lot of flexibility. Tie rails, high and low. Over here on driver's side, we have plexiglass, so the tie rails are really important, because if we're traveling in, you know, really, you know, cold months, we can't actually run our lead rope around these upright posts. We've got to have something to tie them to. So they've got the ability to lay down and tie their heads up if you want. And then again, more of the OptiBrite lights. That's standard now. We used to do that on all of our trailers, pending availability of products. But we always tried to put OptiBrite lights on them. They're clear, they're a big lens, they put out a lot of light, but not a big power draw with them being LED. So I'm glad Cimarron's actually gone in and made them standard. Speaking of standard is this roof. It's on every single Cimarron, doesn't matter if it's this trailer, big living quarters, little bumper pole, whatever it is, they're all gonna have the exact same roof. Where it really comes into play on this trailer is it's strong. I can walk on it, I don't have to find the roof bows. It's a 1/2-inch thick honeycomb design, so it's really, really strong. It can take 150 pounds per square foot. In this instance, with this being 6'4", a low profile trailer, think about body heat of our animals in here, heat rises. The first couple trailers that like Kirk Steerwalt used to drag, for instance, he built them 6'8". You know, low profile, but wanted to get that heat away from the cattle. And then he realized with this roof that Cimarron uses, it's not as big of a deal, because that roof right there will keep this stall area 20% cooler than aluminum sheeted roof. So we can keep it a little bit shorter, get down that 6'4", so it's not as tall. In this instance here, don't really need it. But you can literally walk in here on the real hot months and you put your hand up here. It might be a little bit warm, but some of those aluminum ones are almost hot to the touch after long, you know, really hot days. It just conducts all that heat, and man, do they get toasty in those stall areas. So big difference there, keeping cattle nice and cool. Also 2-way roof vents, so you can manipulate airflow, grab air, force it down. We got 8 of them in here so we can release air to the back, create almost a vacuum. So really good features up here, keeping the animals nice and cool and comfortable. And then if we flip to the other side, you're just gonna notice the rubber mats here that we have on this trailer. But underneath there is the industry's best floor. It's a 12-inch deck that's tongue and groove, high and low, so it locks into place. If you have one locking point on something, it has the ability to flex. If you have 2, it's more sturdy and doesn't allow that much flex. So, but what's important is the centers, those beams that run across the trailer, are every 4 inches apart. So think about wherever you have a calf standing on this floor, they're standing on a support beam. If you want to tell quality of an all aluminum trailer, in my opinion, crawl underneath and look at the floor. That's your foundation. That's what you have to start with. Just like if you were building a house, you know, you have to have that strong foundation. So if you notice that it might just be, you know, centers that are 8, 12 inches, 16 inches apart, you see some crazy things, and they might just take a sheet of aluminum and tack it on top of it, and that's the floor you're dealing with. Well, that's where those pits can create, where, you know, cattle are standing and urine can collect and start to corrode. So on all aluminum trailers, you definitely have to pull mats and clean them out and care for them. That's just part of it. But you're also starting off with the best floor, so take care of it. But in this instance here, you have rubber mats. If you wanted to upgrade to worm flooring, that could be done down the road. It's always cheaper up front to do it when the trailer's brand new, but it can be done at any time. Then you don't have to worry about pulling mats. But as we work back, second traveling gate. This one here is going to be a 48-inch swing, no threshold. You're going to notice that as well. So this guy here can swing both ways. So it makes leading calves on or off this gate a lot simpler by it going both directions, and then also hinged over on driver's side rather than passenger. But if you wanted to change the sequencing, I mean, you can roll these back, you can unbolt them. I mean, it's a couple people job because they're big and awkward. So you can slide them out and flip them if you want. But in this instance here, we went the slider up front with a 48-inch swing at the back. That just kind of seems to be how most people want to actually use the trailers themselves. But again, a lot of flexibility by having these traveling gates in these. Now, like I mentioned, and you probably noticed, we had a second side ramp, and that is behind the axles on this one. So this is what I will tell you. On trailers, the best part of a ride for our livestock is on the axles or ahead. Behind the axles is like riding at a school bus. That's the best way I know how to explain it. It's a lot of fun when you're younger and you're on the school bus and you hit the bumps and you hit the railroad tracks and it shoots you up, but we don't want our cattle doing that. So if we can keep them on the axles or ahead, it's better for them. So a lot of customers we see will use the back as their kind of tack area. Well, in this instance, makes it a lot simpler to be able to roll items up this side ramp, maybe a upright box, your blower carts, anything like that, rather than lifting them up over the back. The other thing too is we can keep the gate shut if we want and work off the side of this. Maybe you're using this actually at a show, and you're showing off the trailer, got a lot more flexibility. Hey, you might even have this back stall area for some calves, but hey, I need to unload them first rather than up there, and I can use the side ramp. I mean, again, you've got a lot of just versatility and flexibility with the trailer, having so many access points. But again, having the rear ramp is definitely a nice feature there. But then you can also use this as just maybe a cattle trailer. Maybe you need to haul some pairs somewhere where you got to back up to an alleyway, and rather than have a rear ramp that now those cattle have to get up on, you have your rear ramp, but it's on the side of the trailer. It can still be shut. You can still use this gate how it's tended to in those type of instances there. So again, a lot of cool stuff going on in this trailer. It's not just a 28-foot stock trailer by any means. Right in here alone with just these side ramps, traveling gates. Again, a trailer that's very functional. Now, I mentioned the plexiglass tray up front, and you're going to notice on the gate itself, you can't notice it, but that plexiglass in there has a notch that you remove the plexiglass. In between the side ramp and then that gate, there's a notch there. And then behind it, in this area here, there's that notch as well. So we have 2 upper air gaps, 1 lower, You know, obviously the uppers are the same size, the lower's a little bit smaller, but there's a lot of pieces to this. So this is a tip I highly recommend if you're gonna buy this type of a trailer, this one in particular. When you remove this plexiglass, you need to have a Sharpie and a roll of masking tape, just because of all these different little pieces. It's like a puzzle, but you don't have the picture, okay? It's all just this smoked plexiglass. So you got to figure out where it all goes. So if you take out, you know, passenger side upper, write that down, put those pieces up in that storage tray, do the same for the lower. Obviously the lowest air gap is gonna be smaller, but you have the same one on the other side that's all different lengths and pieces over there. So try to keep that in mind. Just take the time. It'll save you a lot of hassle down the road if you just do those type of really small things at the time in order to keep track of everything. So you have high and low tie rails on the exterior. They're gonna be kind of split up. You have some ahead of the side ramp, some behind it, you know, some behind the wheel well, the upper. But it's nice to, again, if you're showing off this trailer, you need to just pull a calf off and tie them up. You've got that flexibility there. Amber turn signal in the middle. We like doing this on these bigger trailers and wider trailers. It works as an additional marker light for you, but it's also an indicator. It'll blink when you have your blinker on. It'll indicate when you hit your brakes. A lot of people don't pay attention to these longer trailers. They get in this area and they don't realize you're trying to get over. So again, we've been doing that on quite a few of these bigger, again, longer 8 wide trailers for sure. 2 8,000-pound Dexter rubber torsion axles, electric brakes, 17.5-inch wheels, the black with the aluminum spoke, and then an 18-ply Cooper tire. So really strong running gear underneath here, really heavy-duty tire as well. Not just a cheap tire, the 17.5s. You know, a lot of people, those are become really, really popular over the last 10, 12 years. We're doing that on a lot of these trailers. Up on the top rail, you're gonna have some button lights. I think we opted for 8 on this one. We added a few extra. And then you've got some 16-inch awning lights as well. So those shoot down and out. You got a couple on each side. I'll just show you with this side ramp, because these are also gonna be the charcoal metallic as well. But as you can see, as I go to shut this, I kind of let it go and it actually sucks into the trailer because of the big springs that Cimarron uses. These can be locked. So on your side ramp, your escape door, you can lock that up. It's all the same key. On the rear gate, you'll have to do a padlock, but you can lock this trailer completely up if need be. But again, really simple to use. And again, a lot of flexibility by able to access multiple points on this. And you can set your cattle and tack in there however you want. All right, so here's a good look at that rear gate itself. 36-inch wide opening on the slider. That way, if you're butting up against another trailer, a specific, you know, alleyway, you can butt up against them with the big rubber bumper on the back of this. But that 36 gets this hardware out of this opening, so we don't have cattle rubbing against it. Think about a big bred heifer, a big fat steer, a bull going through this. It's nice to have that wider door. And the reason why we can do that is this trailer is 8 foot wide. But then, of course, you've got your just normal swing gate. All your switches are back here at this back corner. And then one other feature we had been doing on quite a few of our trailers recently is backup lights. You know, our truck's a long ways away. We're gonna get in places where it's gonna be dark, you're not sure exactly where you're at, unfamiliar, or even getting home. These here, now moving forward on these 25 models, that backup light, that little kind of X almost looking white piece there, is actually gonna indicate when we throw it in reverse. So that's gonna be a backup light. Those are built into all of our tail lights here at the back of this trailer. So definitely a nice feature. We're all going to be in those instances now and then where it is dark and you need to see a little bit. Again, our truck backup lights are almost useless. They're way up at the front, and usually the gooseneck's, you know, blocking them. So over here on driver's side, lower tie rail, upper tie rail, you have a lot more because we're not broke up by side ramps and access gate itself. This is a really good side if you're going to tie out at the trailer itself. You got a lot of flexibility here from this instance. And then again, 2 16-inch awning lights Those are great. They shoot down and out. They don't protrude up from the trailer. So if you get in places where, you know, low hanging branches will knock those pedestal lights off. We've seen it time and time again. These here, again, down and out. And then there's all that plexiglass. Again, we're not broke up by the gates and the side ramps. So a lot more plexiglass over here. So that's why it's important to just keep track of everything and you know where it goes. So what a very well optioned trailer. It's got a lot of flexibility from the standpoint of you want to use on farm and ranch, take it to shows. You know, maybe you need just a show trailer with a lot of features, and you need that stall space, 28 foot of usable stall space without a front tack room. But again, having the capability to do that with those traveling gates and that dirty tack setup. So I'll give you the reference on this one. The stock number is 5N240742. It is a 2025 Cimarron Lonestar 28 foot, 2 traveling gates, 2 side ramps. So we do take trade-ins. So if you're looking to upgrade and downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available and delivery. We could potentially bring this to your doorstep. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.